Picture this, March 15th, 2026, the Dolby Theater red carpet. One of Hollywood's biggest stars shuffles out in a baggy white suit and chunky boots, tiny black sunglasses on, completely unbothered. And instantly, every fashion critic on the planet stops and goes, "Wait, what?" Conan O'Brien then roasts that exact look live in front of millions. The silence inside the Dolby was genuinely uncomfortable. That one outfit launched a global conversation that hadn't stopped by morning. But trust me, that's nothing compared to the rest of this list. If you love diving into red carpet secrets and hidden fashion tea like this, I'd really appreciate if you'd subscribe. It truly helps us bring you more stories like this. Number 13, Renate Reinsve. Renate is a Norwegian actress nominated for Best Actress for her film Sentimental Value, and she is genuinely one of the most striking women working in film right now. When she stepped onto that carpet, every camera turned toward her, and then people looked at the dress and a collective, "Oh no," rippled through the fashion internet. She wore a strapless Louis Vuitton gown in a bold scarlet red, and here's the thing, the color was genuinely gorgeous. Brit Plus Co said they were obsessed with the shade, but the silhouette was completely, bafflingly shapeless. The skirt looked careless, like the fabric had simply been attached at the waist and allowed to fall straight to the floor without anyone bothering to tailor it. The asymmetric design, where a slit revealed one leg entirely while a long train covered the other, looked lopsided rather than dramatic, and the lack of any accessories at all meant the whole look just faded completely into the background on a carpet where everyone else was bringing diamonds and drama. She is a Best Actress nominee at the Academy Awards. She had this incredible platform to make a statement, and instead she just kind of disappeared into a shapeless red dress. That one genuinely hurt to watch because she deserved so much more than this. Number 12, Misty Copeland. Misty Copeland is a literal ballet icon, one of the most physically elegant human beings on the planet, and she still couldn't make this outfit work, which tells you everything you need to know about the outfit. Copeland wore a custom David Coma look that tried to fuse her ballet world with her personal style, and the concept was genuinely interesting on paper. She had a structured black blazer, a plunging V-neck, and, this is where it gets complicated, a white tulle tutu attached in the middle of a floor-length skirt. She also accessorized with around $2 million in diamonds. $2 million. And somehow the look still didn't come together. The problem is that the individual elements, office blazer, ballet tutu, evening gown skirt, each belonged in a completely different world, and forcing them all together at the Oscars created something that felt more like a themed costume than a red carpet fashion statement. The structured blazer made her look corporate. The tutu made her look like she was about to perform Swan Lake, and the floor-length skirt made the whole thing fight with itself from the waist down. With that body and those diamonds, she should have looked utterly transcendent. Instead, it read as a bold experiment that needed one more round in the design room. Number 11, Chloé Zhao, Girl. This one genuinely made people stop scrolling. Chloé Zhao is an Oscar-winning director. She won Best Director for Nomadland, and she is nominated this year for directing the adaptation of Hamnet. She is one of the most celebrated filmmakers working today, and she walked the 2026 Oscars carpet looking like she was on her way to a gothic funeral. Zhao wore a custom Gabriella Hearst gown in black, full sleeves, ruffled skirt, glossy fabric. The look was dramatic, but it wasn't that. It was the veil, a sheer blackface veil that partially covered her face. On the Oscars red carpet, the internet absolutely lost it. "Is this a funeral service?" was the top comment everywhere. "Is she in mourning because she knows she won't win?" Someone said, and I quote, "Is she going to the funeral of the Oscars itself?" Another person was a little less charitable. "An outfit with a trash bag so we don't get lost, friend." I genuinely think Zhao was going for something avant-garde and conceptual. She is an artistic filmmaker, and this felt like an artistic statement. But here's the thing about avant-garde fashion on the Oscars red carpet. It has to either be so stunning it transcends the weirdness, or so playful it reads as a joke. This hit neither. The veil just read as somber. It hit her face on one of the most photographed nights of her career. That's just a miss I can't defend. Number 10, Maggie O'Farrell. This is a fascinating one because Maggie O'Farrell is not a celebrity in the traditional sense. She's a novelist. Her 2020 book Hamnet was the basis for Chloé Zhao's film, and she walked the carpet as the author behind the year's most talked about prestige picture, which means this was probably her first major red carpet, and bless her heart. O'Farrell arrived in a hot pink satin gown, genuinely Barbie pink, bold and bright, with a ruched silhouette and a dramatic cape effect at the back. The color was a statement, and I respect that. But then she added a thick black belt and black lace gloves and a dramatic black statement necklace and a black lace veil over her face all at once on a hot pink dress. The pink, the black accessories, the veil, the gloves, the necklace. Every single element was competing for attention against every other element, and nothing won. Brit Plus Co. said the creativity gets points, but one of those 3 major details needed to go. 3. At least 3 of them needed to go. I feel for her because she is a writer, not a celebrity, and she probably had the best intentions. But on one of the most photographed red carpets in the world, the lesson this outfit teaches is that editing is as important in fashion as it is in prose. Number 9. Amy Madigan. Here's something that's going to make you feel a specific type of secondhand embarrassment. Amy Madigan had one of the biggest individual nights of the entire 2026 awards season.
And the Oscar goes to Amy Madigan.
She won Best Supporting Actress for her performance in Weapons. She was one of the most celebrated people in that building. And she showed up in a Dior outfit that had fashion critics reaching for casino analogies. Madigan wore a petal-covered Dior jacket that had color and movement and a certain liveliness to it, which I'll give her. But that jacket, paired with plain black trousers, just didn't feel like the Academy Awards. The Daily Beast said it looked like getting glammed up to hit the casino, and that's kind of it exactly. It felt like a fun night out, rather than a historic awards ceremony. The uneven petal pattern on the jacket was visually distracting, and the black pants underneath just couldn't keep up with the drama of the jacket above. When you win Best Supporting Actress at the Oscars, that moment is captured forever. The photos of you accepting that award will exist for the rest of your life. The outfit you wear to that ceremony matters. And a casino-adjacent Dior jacket and black trousers on the night you accept one of the most prestigious awards in cinema. It just leaves you wanting more for her. She deserved a truly extraordinary gown on her extraordinary night. Number 8. Felicity Jones. Be honest, have you ever worn a color you loved, but in a silhouette that just did not work for you at all? Because that is exactly the situation Felicity Jones found herself in at the 2026 Oscars. Jones, who appeared in 100 Nights of Hero, walked the carpet in a yellow gown. And the yellow was genuinely a beautiful shade. Brit Plus Co. said they were obsessed with the color. The pearl detailing around the garment showed real craftsmanship and thought, but the silhouette was a complete disaster. The chest was completely unfitted, just loose and boxy, like the dress hadn't been properly constructed around her. The belt at the waist was chunky and awkward rather than defining, and the wide skirt below created a silhouette that glam described as the gown wearing her rather than her wearing the gown. She wore the whole thing, according to multiple critics, with an obvious lack of confidence, which is almost as hard to watch as the dress itself. The pearl detailing should have continued around the front and back of the garment to give it cohesion, but as constructed, it just looked like an incomplete design. In a year where every silhouette on that carpet felt sharp and intentional, this gown looked like it needed another 2 rounds of fittings before it was ready for the biggest red carpet of the year. Number 7. Kevin O'Leary. Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, arrived at the 98th Academy Awards as a cast member of Best Picture nominee Marty Supreme, and he did not, under any circumstances, arrive quietly. He wore a gaudy Dolce & Gabbana jacket that O'Leary himself bragged on Instagram took 7 months to create. 7 months.
They're wearing outrageous jackets. This is Dolce dressing me. It's a one-of-a-kind Dolce museum piece. I love it.
The jacket looked, as one site put it, strangely medieval, like a robe that had ambitions. But honestly, the jacket wasn't even the main event, because around his neck was a custom Tiffany & Co. necklace with 101.32 carats of diamonds. And, you need to hear this, hanging from that necklace was a vintage 2004 NBA card known as the Triple Logo Man, which O'Leary claimed could be worth up to $30 million. On his neck.
This is the most famous basketball card in the world. It's 22 years old, worth about $30 million.
At the Academy Awards, he also wore 2 watches. The great Dolly Parton once said, "It costs a lot of money to look this cheap," and the fashion media quoted her immediately at O'Leary. One Instagram commenter summed up the energy of the whole look with a single line. "Feels like when you hear an adult say 6 to 7. Nicki Swift called it looking like he'd made a bad deal with his Shark Tank co-stars. In a year where understated menswear swagger defined the best-dressed men on that carpet, Kevin O'Leary turned the most prestigious red carpet in cinema history into a personal investment portfolio, and we will never forgive him for it. Number 6, Kristen Wiig. I genuinely feel for Kristen Wiig on this one, I really do. Because this wasn't just a fashion miss, this was history repeating itself, loudly, on the biggest stage possible, and somehow she still couldn't course correct. Wiig walked the carpet in a black gown that featured a beaded scoop neck, paired with a diamond-patterned skirt. The problem was that those 2 textiles were having a complete argument with each other. The beaded top and the patterned skirt contradicted each other so thoroughly that Glam said the fabric would have been more suitable on a piece of vintage furniture than on a person. the chunky jewelry, the saltwater blowout hairstyle. It all fought with everything else rather than pulling any of it together. Here's the part that really gets me. Kristen Wiig first became a worst-dressed entry at the 2020 Oscars, and she's been a recurring guest on these lists ever since. The unconventional, maximalist choices clearly come from a genuine place of creative expression, and honestly, I respect that she doesn't play it safe. But there's a difference between a bold, creative choice and a dress that is simply not working on your body. On this night, on this carpet. Fashion is supposed to make you feel like the most powerful version of yourself. And on the 2026 Oscar carpet, among all that restrained, sleek, intentional glamour, this busy, conflicting dress just couldn't compete. Number 5, Ginnifer Goodwin. Here is proof that sometimes the individual pieces of an outfit can be genuinely beautiful, and the result can still be a total disaster. Because getting dressed for the Oscars isn't just about quality, it's about harmony. Goodwin arrived in a sheer black organza Mons gown with a dramatic off-the-shoulder puff sleeve. The lace detailing was delicate and beautiful. The flowing train was genuinely gorgeous. But the transparency of the fabric and the heavy sleeve volume and the layered textures and the chunky silver choker and the black clutch all competed against each other instead of working together, creating what reviewers described as a look that struggled to find any cohesion whatsoever. The choker, in particular, heavy and bold against that delicate, whisper-thin lace, looked like it belonged on a different outfit entirely. The result felt genuinely disjointed. Everything was fighting everything else for visual dominance, and nothing won. It's the kind of look where you can see exactly how it ended up the way it did. A beautiful gown, some beautiful accessories, a beautiful choker, all added one by one without anyone stopping to ask whether they worked together as a complete picture. And on a carpet where so many other women were showing up in head-to-toe cohesive, polished, intentional looks, that disjointed energy stood out in the worst possible way. Number 4, Auli'i Cravalho. When I tell you this dress had people pulling up comparison images of household objects, I want you to understand, I am not being dramatic. Auli'i Cravalho arrived at the 2026 Oscars in a dramatic ivory Antonio Maris ball gown, featuring sculpted rosette details across the entire bodice and a voluminous tulle skirt. The intention was clearly couture fantasy, big, dramatic, unapologetically theatrical, and I respect wanting to make a statement.
This dress is fantastic.
Thank you, I can't breathe. You know, it is really amazing to be a legacy character.
But the oversized floral rosettes were so dramatically large in scale that they completely overwhelmed her frame. The proportions were just miscalculated. The exaggerated shapes made her look smaller rather than more commanding, swallowed by her own gown rather than wearing it. Comparison images placed next to a giant bath loofah went viral, and the resemblance genuinely was hard to argue with. The tulle skirt was so voluminous that navigating the Dolby Theater must have been a full project. And for a star who has such a genuine, infectious presence and so much natural charisma, it was genuinely sad to watch her disappear inside an outfit that was so much louder than she was. Fashion is supposed to amplify who you are. This just buried her. In 2026, where the sleekest, simplest silhouettes were winning the night, arriving in a dress that looked like it was auditioning for a theme park theatrical show was always going to be a tough sell. Number 3, Kirsten Dunst. Girl, nobody saw this one coming. Kirsten Dunst is a certified, genuine Hollywood legend. Spider-Man, Bring It On, The Power of the Dog, decades of incredible work. She showed up to the 2026 Oscars with her husband, Jesse Plemons, and she walked the carpet in a black Celine gown that had every fashion account doing a double take in real time. The dress had a square strapless neckline that sat very high on her chest, giving it that boxy, rigid quality. And then from the waist down, the entire skirt was constructed in stacked horizontal tiers, layers and layers of fabric that created so much volume, they made the dress look too long and too heavy for her frame. AOL said the shape left something to be desired. Multiple outlets said it felt classic but too plain and repetitive for the Oscars. The tiered construction made it genuinely difficult for her to move gracefully through the evening. And here's what breaks my heart about this one. Kirsten Dunst has earned the right to wear whatever she wants to the Oscars. She has nothing to prove to anyone. But in a year where Jessie Buckley showed up in a two-tone Chanel masterpiece and Emma Stone shimmered in custom Louis Vuitton that reportedly took 600 hours of handwork on a carpet where everyone was bringing their absolute best, showing up in something that read as plain and repetitive was a missed opportunity that felt even bigger, given how much she deserves a triumphant fashion moment. Number 2, Demi Moore. I want to be upfront. Demi Moore is an absolute icon, and I say everything that follows with genuine respect for her and her career. But this one genuinely shocked me, and I know I wasn't alone. Moore arrived at the 2026 Oscars in a custom Gucci gown, covered from head to toe in black and green iridescent feathers with a strapless bodice, and feathers cascading in a dégradé effect all the way down the skirt. Multiple fashion outlets said it was an ideal dress for starring as a Disney villain, but not for the red carpet. Viewers compared it to a dead peacock, to Big Bird's gothic cousin. The craftsmanship of the Gucci atelier was clearly impressive. The featherwork was extraordinary, but the density of the plumage overwhelmed the silhouette so completely that you couldn't see Demi Moore anymore. You could only see the dress. Here's the thing about feathers on a red carpet, and this is the lesson of the night. The key is always keeping the body's silhouette visible and letting the feathers create drama at the extremities. Moore's gown did the complete opposite, covering her so thoroughly that the human being wearing it essentially vanished. In a year where Nicole Kidman's feathered Chanel gown was landing on best dressed lists for getting that exact balance right, Moore's head-to-toe plumage read as too much, too heavy, too theatrical, and the feathers shed throughout the evening, leaving a visible trail behind her as she moved. That image said it all. Number 1, Timothée Chalamet, the unanimous number 1 on every single worst dressed list from every major publication covering the 98th Academy Awards. And this one genuinely has layers to it. Chalamet arrived as a Best Actor nominee for Marty Supreme, directed by Josh Safdie, one of the most talked about films of the season, wearing an oversized ivory Givenchy suit, double-breasted jacket, wide slouchy trousers, the whole silhouette deliberately relaxed and exaggerated. On its own, a white Givenchy suit on Timothée Chalamet sounds like it should be incredible. He is one of the few people in Hollywood who can actually pull off genuinely daring fashion choices. But the slouchy, baggy proportions made the suit feel more bedroom casual than couture. One critic said it looked like it was worn by one of the Backstreet Boys, circa 1996. The Boston Globe said his barely there goatee did not help. And then he paired all of that with tiny black sunglasses. Not dramatic, not editorial, just small and casual, which multiple outlets described as making him look arrogant, and which The Guardian noted were a performative touch that undermined the whole look. And here's the tea. Chalamet sat through that in this outfit, in this suit that one fashion publication described as flat and lifeless with those tiny sunglasses, and had to laugh it off on camera. Multiple outlets noted the monochrome styling lacked the sharp precision usually associated with his calculated fashion risks. In a year where Michael B. Jordan showed up in a beautifully tailored Louis Vuitton Nehru collar suit that had everyone losing their minds, proof that men's fashion can be genuinely exciting. Chalamet's baggy, casual, shades-included interpretation of a white suit looked like a risk that never quite landed. Nobody is forgetting this look, but probably not for the reasons he wanted. The patterns most viewers missed. When you step back, the exact same mistakes kept repeating in ways most viewers completely missed. First, a total failure to read the room. 2026 was all about whisper quiet, old Hollywood luxury. Stars like Emma Stone and Jessie Buckley understood the assignment, but the celebs on this list who swung for theatrical excess, like feather-covered Gucci or gothic veils, looked like they were dressed for a completely different event. This year, the real rebellion was simply looking effortlessly polished. Second, the curse of over-accessorizing. From Maggie O'Farrell's chaotic veil and gloves combo to Kevin O'Leary's absurd NBA card necklace, accessories became the enemy. The best looks trusted the tailoring, the worst looks piled things on until the outfit couldn't breathe. And finally, the undefeated truth of the fitting. A bad concept is one thing, but a beautiful dress that swallows you, like Felicity Jones's boxy yellow gown, is a tragedy. In the era of brutal 8K broadcast cameras, a bad fit has nowhere to hide. But honestly, that's what makes the red carpet human. Even with unlimited budgets and elite styling teams, sometimes a risk just doesn't land. And those missteps become the exact stories we're still talking about long after the actual winners are forgotten. If this countdown had you talking, drop your thoughts in the comments. Which look surprised you the most? And subscribe for more red carpet deep dives every single award season.